Welcome to part 18 of our series, Secrets of Glessner House. Today, we are going to share a discovery made in late May while looking into the small attic spaces behind the knee wall on the third floor, which revealed the identity and location of the company that supplied the structural lumber for the house. As part of our recent project to assess the current condition of the roof and needed repairs, it was necessary to examine portions of the house from the inside. The third floor sits directly beneath the roof, and a knee wall runs around the perimeter, separating the rooms from areas that are too short to be usable. A few original access doors are still in place, like the one seen here, which would have been in the butler's quarters. Looking into the opening, you can see the framing of the roof, the inside surface of the masonry walls, and evidence of early knob and tube electrical wiring, in addition to lots of insulation, which was added in later years. In one space that is quite tall, beneath the most steeply pitched section of the roof, we were surprised to find a ladder. Given the small opening into this space, it appears likely that the ladder dates to the construction of the house and was purposely left here in case there would be a later need to access the upper portion of the space. The most intriguing find was discovered at the southeast corner of the third floor. A section of the subflooring had been cut away many years ago to add ductwork visible at the center of these two combined photographs. Black stenciled letters were clearly visible on the large joist seen below floor level to either side of the duct. To the right, the name Walk-Up could be seen, followed by CO, presumably for company. Several letters were visible on the left side, but not an entire name. The letters that could be seen suggested that the first name might be Thompson. A search in the online Chicago Tribune archive quickly identified a prominent Chicago lumber company in business during the 1880s by the name of C.C. Thompson and Walk-Up Company. A history of the Chicago Board of Trade and its members, published in 1886, the year construction began on Glessner House, revealed that the lumber company was formed in 1884, when two separate companies, owned by Corwin C. Thompson and Thomas Walk-Up, merged. At that time, both companies were in the lumber district along the south branch of the Chicago River. This map from 1886 shows the location of the new company, which occupied the site previously occupied by Walk-Up's business. Blue Island Avenue runs at an angle at the top of the map, with Ashland Avenue at the right and Damon Avenue, then known as Roby Street, on the left. The canals built off of the river were 100 feet wide and about 1,500 feet long, providing nearly a half-mile of dock frontage. More than a dozen ships could be loaded or unloaded each day. This detail of the map shows all the buildings located on the site, including sawmills, lumber sheds, and kilns. The buildings shown in yellow were frame structures. Those shown in pink, like the kilns, were built of brick to provide protection from fire. The large amount of open space was for the stacking of incoming logs and outgoing lumber. You will also see numerous railroad tracks. An article at the time noted up to 80 rail cars could be filled with lumber in a single day. The president of the company was Corwin C. Thompson, a native of Rochester, New York, who initially came to Chicago in 1859, entering the commission business. During the Civil War, he moved to St. Louis, providing huge amounts of supplies to the Union troops. After the war, he turned to the lumber business, and by 1871 had opened a yard in Chicago. 2 years later, he moved back to the city, making a fortune during the rebuilding in the years following the Great Chicago Fire. He built a substantial mansion on Michigan Avenue, less than 2 miles south of Glessner House. Walk-Up also built a large house on Michigan Avenue near 26th Street. The source of lumber for Thompson and Walk-Up was the virgin pine forest of Upper Wisconsin, located on the south shore of Lake Superior. Period accounts indicate enough trees were cut annually to produce up to 60 million feet of lumber, shingles, and lath. This aerial view shows the town of Washburn, Wisconsin, as it appeared at the time. Its location on the Chequamegon Bay provided an easy way to ship the logs through the Great Lakes directly to Chicago. This detail shows the lumber operations located at the west end of Washburn. After the company acquired a large sawmill in town, they discontinued milling operations in Chicago, converting logs into lumber prior to shipment. Walkup retired from the business in 1889, and both he and Thompson died in 1897. The company continued for another decade. Here we see a view of typical old-growth Norway pine forest in Wisconsin. The company owned 72 square miles of land in Bayfield County, which equals more than 46,000 acres, roughly one-third the size of present-day Chicago. Eventually, all the forests were depleted in the area, and logging declined. Today, the company's site in Washburn has returned to its natural state and is known as Thompson's West End Park. Returning to Glessner House before we close, here we see the building specifications for the framing of the house, specifically calling for the use of Norway pine. The size of the joists to be used is also noted, dependent on the span they were to cover. In this view of the ceiling in the basement, you can see the massive joists installed under the parlor. They are 3 inches thick by 12 inches tall, and are spaced 12 inches on center. The house was known as a fortress because of its thick masonry walls, but it was built like a fortress on the inside, too. We hope you have enjoyed learning about our recent discovery, a bit of history about one of the largest lumber companies ever to operate in Chicago, and the journey the lumber would have taken from the shore of Lake Superior down to Prairie Avenue. Tune in next time when another secret will be revealed.